where were you when you got the call that Tiger was on Bourbon Street doing a terrorist attack on January 1st?
Yeah, so I was at my Uncle Brett's house. I was up there for the whole pre-draft process, training up there in Dallas. So I was at his house in Grapevine. I was sleeping on the couch that night. Me and him were gonna wake up, we're gonna play some golf that next morning. Exos and all that stuff was closed. So we're just go kick it, chill night. And I wasn't out and about. I was just chilling at his crib, cooked some dinner, slept on the couch, woke up around 5 a.m. to my phone getting spammed with my sister's fiance, Jordan. I kind of silenced him once, twice, and he called again. So I finally answered him. And he had told me that Tiger was out on Bourbon. There was a terrorist attack and that they couldn't find him. So I checked my brother's location and his phone was just sitting on Bourbon Street. So A, he either took off and his phone fell out, or B, something bad happened to him.
When did you guys finally find him and know what sort of condition Tiger was in?
Yeah, so it was about 3.5, 4 hours later. We had called every hospital within the whole area, 10 different hospitals, just giving them the description of my brother. Please call us back if y'all find somebody. Ochsner called us and they told us that they had somebody that description, and my dad was in the New Orleans area just waiting for that call. And so they brought him in and they're like, you can't see him right now, he's in ICU getting surgery. But they brought him out this watch, actually. And once he brought this watch out, my dad got this for him for graduation, a year after he graduated, because obviously Rolexes aren't cheap. So my dad had to save up and put money away for a few years to get this for him. And so whenever they brought it out, he was able to be like, yeah, that's my son in there.
Yeah, what does it mean to you now, though, man, to be able to have that watch and have a piece of your brother with you?
Oh, man, everything, because not only is it, you got the scratch marks and you got the dried up blood and you got all that, and I'm never going to wash it. I'm never going to fix it. I'm going to keep it just the way it is. So, it's definitely, every time I look back at it, just knowing, he died in this watch, It was around his wrist when he got hit. And just like I said, it's just another one of those reminders. Just always just keep on pressing and then know that, this isn't for me. This is for my brother. This is for my family. This is for all the people who have helped me get to this point in my life.
Hold up. Limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling got me up. On the mission got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. Only vision I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got a pin in it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant.
Chan, what your weight room look like when you was in high school?
Not like this. It's a high school? Boy, these boys spoiled.
Jack Bech, man, thank you for welcoming us to your home, St. Thomas More. Where the story all started for you. This is Fred Taylor, this is Channing Crowd, I'm Ryan Clark, Pivot Fam. Thank you so much for pivoting with us today. Our guest is Jack Bech. Jack, man, I just want to talk about being here, though. Tell me some of your first memories of seeing St. Thomas More play, and also your brother Tiger being on this field.
Yeah, I would say some of the first memories are my brother out here playing. I remember going just way back. My brother, he obviously passed away a few months ago, but just growing up, he's the one who taught me how to play ball, had that mentality, that dog mentality that's carried me on up to this point, that's going to keep carrying me on. But some of the first memories are just coming here, not even games, just watching him come out here and work. Being a young kid, him out here by himself, just running stadiums, getting work in, bringing me along with him. I'm 9 years old, learning what hard work is, determination. So some of my first memories around here are just really on the practice field, watching him do his thing.
That Louisiana football, because Fred and myself, Florida guys, and RC holds up this Louisiana football like it's up there with Florida. We're
supposed to split the room.
Yeah, split the room.
We cool. Hey, that's good. I'm not trying to come to that side.
As Fred has his national championship Gator shirt on, right now. But just I've heard you say that other times, just that dog mentality, that thought of it. Is he painting us a picture when he tells us how serious football is out here?
He's painting you the whole picture. Man, football, everything to us. It's another religion. It's faith, family, and it's football. And you just go down the list of people, starting from here to New Orleans. The list goes on and on and on, and it's not that far between here and New Orleans. But now we got real dogs from Louisiana, so yeah.
When I first came in, I told you we could cut the room kind of like this in an L shape. RC was undrafted. We don't expect you to be undrafted. So, but that's a whole nother story. Do people think you're weird yet? Because I saw somewhere where you said, Kobe Bryant said, you have to work so hard. You have to want it so much when you're chasing greatness that people next to you will think you're weird. Have you gotten to that point yet?
I mean, I don't think I've gotten to that point with everybody, but I think some people have definitely seen that, going from football practice, catching jug machines, it didn't matter if it was raining, dry outside, super hot, super cold, sleeting. I'm on that jug machine after practice, every day. Amon-Ra St. Brown said he would catch like 212 balls after every practice. And I've always just kept that in my mind, hearing that. So every day, now I'm not worried about outworking the dude next to me. I know I'm gonna do that. I'm worried about outworking them dudes in the league. So just keeping that in mind. I'm getting that number. I'm surpassing that number. I'm trying to do that, every day. And to go on the show, end up having the best hands in the country, just speaking stats. But that wasn't just coming from nowhere. That's hard work every day. Every day after practice, out there in the weight room, going the hardest, running the hardest. Just every day doing it, coming in with that mentality to get better, and never being satisfied, with somebody outworking me, and just always getting that extra lick on them no matter what.
You talk about going the extra, and I love what you said about your first memories here. Is not the games, but watching your brother work. And I can only think of some of the conversations you had during that time. I want to get to a different conversation. Your brother was a fighter. Even on January 1st, in the hospital with your parents, he was still fighting. You had an opportunity to get on the phone, and you said you felt like he could hear you. Tell me a little bit about what that last conversation was like with your brother.
Man, so I didn't really know if that was gonna be my last conversation, with him. I knew that he was in bad shape, but I didn't realize how bad it really was. I knew that they had him in the hospital, he was alive, he was breathing, but I didn't know there was a machine really, making him stay awake so the priest could come give him the final blessing, stuff like that. And I feel like that was a big reason, he was able to make it into heaven. But that last conversation, I just told him that I loved him, that I'll see him soon, to keep fighting, to keep going. Like you said, he's a fighter. I didn't have to tell him that, but, because that's who he is, just how he's been since he was a baby. But I just told him, keep going, keep fighting, that I'll be there soon, to be with him and to see him and how much I loved him. And I told him I loved him. Those are the last words I ever told him. And then about probably 10 minutes later, I was with my uncle and my aunt, my Uncle Brett, who he played in the league and played at LSU and stuff like that. But he and my aunt, they kind of looked at me 10 minutes later and shook their heads. So, it was definitely a pretty vivid conversation I had with them. I remember it really well. That was my built-in best friend. Me and him were like this, good news, bad news, indifferent. I'm calling him. He's the first person I'm calling, and he's always picking up the line no matter what. Like you said, though, he was a fighter, though. And, yeah, last words I ever told him were I love him, to keep fighting. So that's what I'm going to live with now from now on, is just keep fighting, keep going no matter the circumstance, but just keep on going.
And you talk about the dog mentality. You talk about outworking everybody, the judge machine, everything you do. The timing that it happened when you just declared, you're about to go into either another level of football. What kind of battery did it put in your back with already having that grind, with now knowing that your brother's watching down on you and seeing the success you're going to have?
Yeah, it's been like a whole different presence about me. You know what I mean? Like I tell these teams, they not only get me, they get Tiger too. It's a 2-for-1 special deal. Even just going back to the Senior Bowl, I just felt like I was out there. I just couldn't lose no matter what. I just had this extra presence about me. And then just late nights, early mornings, waking up to go grind throughout this whole pre-draft process. It's really just pushed me, and it's taken me to places that I didn't even know my body could go to. I've always worked hard, ran the extra mile, but this definitely put a whole new level to that, but just a whole new mindset of just I don't care who's in front of me. I'm going to win regardless of what's going on.
How has that situation changed your outlook on life, if any?
It's a whole new perspective. I've always been big into my faith. I've always believed in God, that extra realm. But now, I know it's for real. Everybody might have that little doubt, till Jesus got to carry that cross for you. You know what I mean? But he's carried it, and I've seen just all the different things that he's done in my life and my family's life through the passing of my brother. Man, I just know it's all for real now. I wake up every morning, thank God for waking me up. Every night before I go to sleep, thank God for the day. No matter if it was a good or bad day, to just find the good in every day. But like I said, man, I just know, it's real. like 100%. Like my brother's in heaven, God is real. Like that's my ultimate goal is to get there. You know what I mean? Is to get to heaven and is to keep just growing my platform, just keep bringing more and more people, to His word and to His goodness. So.
Yeah, you went to school here at St. Thomas More. It's a Catholic high school. And part of going to these sort of high schools, I went to Archbishop Shaw, is faith is a large deal in these schools. The celebrations, the graduations, all of those things incorporate some sort of mass, some sort of blessing, some sort of prayer. You already had that foundation of faith. But how much did you have to draw on that in losing your brother?
Everything I had and more. You know what I mean? The only way me and my family are getting through this, have gotten through it, are getting through it, and will get through it, is because of our faith. You know what I mean? If we didn't have our faith, we'd be in shambles. I can't even speak on where we'd be right now if our faith, wasn't where it's at. It's everything, from the way we handle this situation. The worst thing we could ever imagine happened. We turned it into something good. We just showed people how good God was throughout the whole thing and brought people, closer to Him. And the amount of people that have came up to us and said that they weren't believers, but now they are because of us, has been really special. And I feel like, God does everything for a reason. And one of His reasons was for all of us to have this platform to keep bringing people closer to Him.
You said that now with Tiger and God, that you feel that you'll be unbeatable. You also said that you'll be unbreakable. Can you talk a little bit more about how having both Tiger and God, but also having to learn how to get through this situation with God does make you feel unbreakable?
Yeah, I just feel like through so many different aspects and perspectives, for example, catching the football is my job now. I hate dropping the football, you know what I mean? And I always am super hard on myself when I do it. And I always just try to get back to that next play mentality, but sometimes it really pisses me off just dropping the ball. But now, just going through all that, and it's just something little, but this would be easy to wipe that off, and to keep going. Just little things like that. And just knowing that not every day is gonna be good. Some days will be great, some days will be bad, some days will be right in the middle. But just knowing that they got a plan for me. They're right here with me. This next week, a lot of people are stressed about, where they're gonna be living, where they're going. Man, I just know that my brother and God, they're finna put me in the perfect situation, the perfect place. So I'm not worried if it's first round, fourth round, fifth round. I know they're gonna put me right where I need to be when I need to be there to go out to have a longevity career in the league. So I could take care of my family, my people the rest of my life. Love it.
During the Senior Bowl, you honored his legacy by wearing his number, and you delivered a game-winning touchdown. Can you describe those emotions and what that moment meant to you?
Yeah, man, it was the first time my people have smiled. It was exactly 1 month away. So January 1st, my brother died. February 1st is whenever I scored that touchdown. And after that game, that moment, it was the first time I seen all my people smile in a month. So, man, just the draft, man, the emotions were just everywhere from sad to happy. Just like I said, just so many emotions, just and everything in between. That was just another moment, signifying and stating that my brother is really with me and that God is really real. My brother's name was written in the clouds above the stadium. There's different things like that. That stuff can't be made up. Hollywood couldn't have scripted it better.
I read the story about your brother's name being written up there. When did you see that?
I didn't see it till after.
Oh, okay.
But I did see, seven, seven to heaven is a coin that one of our coaches here, Coach Lance Strother, who's played a huge part in my everything, from faith, football, family. He's helped me in all phases of life. But he coined the phrase seven to heaven. Seven's one of the God's numbers, one of the numbers of perfection. So my brother wore it. I wore it in high school. I wore it during the Senior Bowl. And then so I looked back at the clock, and the game clock was 7 seconds were left. And I just saw the foreseeable future. I was like, I'm about to catch the touchdown with no seconds left. 7 seconds were left on the clock. Yada, yada, yada. Just so many things happening. And then they showed me the picture after the game, the day after, of my brother's name written in the clouds. So.
Post your brother's death, all the love that you've gotten and all the people that reach out to you, did that hit you as how many people really care about you? Usually see how much love you have in bad times. And that added to a good time where you're catching touchdown passes about to go to the league, and then you have bad time right there. I won't say evening it out, but seeing that love you got.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and that's a big topic my family and I have talked about was just like, man, you wish you could know that without having to go through something tragic. You know, you wish you could know, like, for example, my brother, how many lives he touched, but without him having to, pass away. He touched thousands, tens of thousands of lives, but we had no idea, until he passed. And still all these letters from people started coming in, phone calls, text messages, flowers being sent with note cards. And same thing, like you don't know really how much love and support you have until a moment like that. I mean, the amount of people that have just reached out, still reach out. My brother has friends who still call me just to make sure his spirit never lives. And that's something that we want to do a better job of, is just showing the people around us who we truly love and care about, how much they mean to us.
That brings me to something very recent, Jack. Your last year at LSU was 22, and it was Kyron Lacey's first year. Recently, we just lost him as well. After dealing with and having to live through the tragedy of your brother, how does something like losing a former teammate affect you now?
Man, I was actually, so his girlfriend, I was on the phone with her a few days ago, because obviously, so she grew up in Lafayette, and we've been family friends with him for a while. And she was calling like all his real good friends and teammates that they were close with about, just trying to tell stories and calling me specifically just about how to get through everything, just going through it, me losing a brother, her losing her best friend. But man, I mean, Kyron was a brother to me, you know what I mean? Even whenever he was at UL, we used to go play Girard Park. I live near Girard Park, it's right on campus. We used to go hoop at Girard Park while he was at UL, because he was a year older than me. So he'd be on UL's campus while I was still home here. And then we ended up meeting back my sophomore year at LSU. And I mean, that dude, he just walked in the room and lit the room up. He could make anybody laugh. Not only that, dude was a dog on the field. He just had them instincts not many people have. But now it's hard, definitely, losing my brother and losing a friend like that. Just seeing how there's one thing can just completely just like dismantle somebody's whole track of life. It just, man, it hurts. And like everybody's been saying, I mean, just check in on those people. Mental health is real. You got to just make sure people are good around you. You know what I mean? Because you never know what people are dealing with. I'm big on telling everybody I see, if I know them or don't know them, what's up, giving them a smile, ask them how they're doing, just because you never know the demons people are fighting. You know what I mean? You never know what somebody, they might have all the money in the world, all the fame, all the love, all the support, but like deep down in, people got demons. I mean, everybody got them. And so I'm just big on, especially now, just seeing that in my brother, just all these different things happen, just like making sure the people around me are good and that, they're good, and their hearts are good up here. And just make sure that, everything's right.
Shannon would always say, nobody checks in on the funny person, right? They think they're okay. As you're checking in on everybody, there's so much on your shoulders with pressure moments of, exciting, but also pressure moments of getting ready for the NFL draft, and then also dealing with death. How was Jack?
So like I said, I'm big into my faith. Some people, like talking to people about like their feelings, their emotions. I'm big on just getting on my knees and praying when times get hard. And I feel like every time I do that, everything gets lifted. I would lie if I said, it's been easy. No, it's been real hard. It's been super hard. But I believe that everything I've gone through with my brother's death, all that adversity I faced in college, like, is getting me ready for this next step I'm about to take. This next part of my journey I'm about to go on, being in the NFL, just like I said earlier, just like knowing like, man, some days are gonna be great, some days are gonna be real bad. But just being able to keep that even keel, that dog mindset, that mindset of just, F everybody, get better, and just keep going, keep pressing on, because people are depending on you and counting on you.
And you talking about like just adversity, really, different types of adversity, but going through, we're sitting here, what are we, an hour away from LSU? Mm-hmm. We're right here. You loved LSU. You want to go to LSU your whole life. And then that doesn't work out. Then you go to TCU. I think you ain't started a game that your first year. Mm-hmm. Just like that whole process was Like just the adversity you've got through, it hardened you to having last season when you went crazy, set records and all that stuff. Like take us through the process of being at LSU, that not working out, then TCU, and just, does that window is your college career is not a normal college career for a top receiver like yourself?
Yeah, no, 100%. Like I said, it's definitely not been easy. Going to LSU my freshman year, ended up having a real good year my freshman year. Ended up being a freshman All-American. Coach O was our coach. That's one of my favorite coaches ever. Man, you could run through a wall for him. Like I said, I'm indebted to Coach O. He gave me the opportunity to go to LSU and play ball. I got to experience Death Valley at night. I got to go to Alabama and play. I got to do like so many things on my bucket list. But then, he got fired. A new coaching staff came in, played under them for a year. And my mom always told me that, because it was hard leaving LSU, being from here, my uncle's playing there, my whole family going there, all my friends go there, family all around there. I mean, it was not easy leaving. But my mom always told me that God, he let me have a great year my freshman year. He let me experience all these different things, but that eventually that his plan was to bring me somewhere else and to experience something else and to bring me to TCU specifically, which ended up being the best decision I've ever made in my whole life. It's the reason I get to sit here now and talk to y'all, and I'll be drafted next week. Even going to TCU that first year, just still dealing with some little injuries and, just being a transfer, trying to learn the system and everything. Like I said, it was hard. Sometimes I question being there, if I should have been back at LSU. And like I said, those times just getting on my knees praying, just knowing God is going to take care of it. And then going to last year. And I think last year, the reason I was able to be so good is because it finally kicked in. Like, it didn't matter if I had a good game, if I went for 200 or if I went for 50. I was always the same person after the game. Maybe my parents would be mad because they wanted me to have a few more yards, but myself, I was always like even keel, like the same person. Just knowing that like my identity isn't only in me as a football player, but it's in Christ and God. It's everything I'm doing in the locker room. How I'm getting the guys going during the game, before the game, after the game, keeping their heads up after a loss, or just keeping their minds steady after a win. So.
Have you been here before? Were you cooking dinner at 3 years old? You're just above your time, man. Like the way you talk, articulate. Were you always this mature?
No, I would just say, with everything that's going on, it makes you take a step up, especially being that rock for my family. You know what I mean? Throughout everything, all that adversity. I definitely think like these years have been expedited. These past 4 years, I've learned so much. Like, I'm 22. I feel like I've gone through so much and I've been taught so many lessons that a 45-year-old hasn't even gone through yet. So, I feel like my years have been longing, but I've learned so much and I've soaked it all in. Just to not only be that better player, but that better brother for my sisters, that better son for my parents, a better friend of my friends, and all those different things. So
Let's talk about something good for a second. You mentioned 22 years old as compared to a 45-year-old. That means you still got like 20 years to get to Fred. That's way out there before you could get.
They forget they're in their 40s too.
You talked about Coach Orgeron, though. Obviously, at the time, you were going to LSU and going to be offered by LSU. It was kind of at the height of who he was as a coach. I think you were in here watching film with Walker, and you get the phone call, have to step out of the meeting, and he comes along with you. What sort of feeling did you get when you finally got the offer that you'd have an opportunity to play at Death Valley?
that was definitely one of those moments like damn, like, this real. It was crazy for sure. Cause like I said, man, I've always had two dreams and goals since I was a kid. It was to play at LSU, to make it to the NFL, and take care of my family. So whenever I got that call, that was a dream coming true. You know what I mean? Like, it was a huge moment for not only me, like I said, my whole family went to LSU. Uncles that played at LSU, all my friends go to LSU. So, I mean, it was a huge moment, not only for me, but for everybody, my family, my friends, the city, the school. Like, it was huge, and just like, that was a very also vivid conversation I had with Coach O. It's one I'll never forget because, it really catapulted me, into what I'm doing now. Because my freshman year, especially going to LSU, was like, you got to grow up quick. You don't have time to just, like, you're a rookie, you're in the NFL, like, you're here for a reason. and you don't just have time to rest, or you don't have time to sit back and learn from the vets. Like you here to go make plays, you here to make the team better, to make the organization better. You know what I mean? So it made me grow, and that taught me so many lessons just in itself, which I'm so blessed to have, because I feel like I'm gonna have that right mentality, and I'm gonna attack this rookie year and all the years coming along the way it should be attacked.
What were the conversations like? You have an amazing freshman year, and I remember watching you that year, and you were like a hybrid, right? It was a little wide receiver, a little tight end. They weren't asking you to block a lot, but you know what I mean? Like, you were doing so many things. And then when you get a new coaching staff in, they don't necessarily have the vision for you that the previous coaching staff who offered you a scholarship had, right? So those things changed. You mentioned a dream coming true, getting to wear the purple and gold. How difficult was it to let that dream go and to say, this thing I've wanted my entire life is no longer for me?
Yeah, it was definitely hard. But like I said, like my mom said, I knew that in order to get to where I wanted to go, because like I said, like it was like dream like 2 is LSU, dream 1 is the league and to take care of my family, you know what I mean? So like the ultimate dream and goal is the NFL. That was just like a stepping stone dream along the way. Like I want to be able to achieve this by going through LSU to get there. But I knew in order to get to the league, and at that point, that I was gonna have to make a change. And even though it was hard, and even though I had questions and thoughts about it, I knew that I had to make a change. And I'm not gonna lie, like I was comfortable at LSU. Like I had just so many people around me, and so leaving there made me, and it taught me how to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, which I think has been one of the biggest adversities I've overcome. And I think it's been one of the biggest lessons I've been taught, because then I just carry that into everything else I do, to training, to practice, to working hard at games. Like just not always being in the best spot to go, for example, win a route, or you might be tired after 30 sprints, but how are you gonna keep going? How are you gonna keep attacking that person knowing they're tired, I'm tired? Well, so now I'm just gonna out-hustle you know what I mean, and go win. And that just all just feeds into that dog mindset that we've been talking about.
Does Texas, do they really got that paper? Like that NIL, did you have to take a pay cut, or you got a little raise?
Nah, so I ended up taking a pretty, I'm not a huge, but definitely a good pay cut. That, because like I said, that was on my mind though. The NIL money, all that stuff, I've always called that fun money.
Right.
But the NFL money that's life-changing money.
Oh,
you know what I mean? So I was always focused on that league money.
Well, because at Florida, man, they paying for teams now.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
What?
They getting all these mid-majors in basketball, breaking them all.
It's legal. It's legal now. Don't act like we're doing nothing wrong.
Y'all was doing it before that.
But if we
What do
being
you
real,
mean?
RC, I mean, nobody said it when LSU was just dominating the last couple years.
What'd you say?
No one said it when LSU was dominating the last couple years.
Because we were recruiting the right way and developing players, Fred.
Man, we seeing y'all girls, they got cereal, they have their faces on cereal boxes, they on McDonald's, but they was eating good while they were here.
I said, we got recruited by LSU too.
Huh?
Huh?
What'd you say?
We got recruited by LSU as well.
What kind of car your mama was driving when you had to commit?
Mitsubishi Diamante.
No, but Jack, you mentioned the NFL and the money. Right now, you're projected, not projected, well, on most draft boards, you're around there, like the fifth or between the fifth and the eighth receiver. But in this draft, we just talked about it, it's so wide open. I mean, you can be the third or fourth receiver taken off the board. How do you feel about your chances going forward?
Like I said, I mean, I don't care if I'm the first receiver taken, the 20th receiver taken. No, I just want to get my foot in the door. Once I get my foot in the door, I'm going to make the most of every chance and opportunity I get. And, man, who has ever taken before me, I'm going to go on a mission to make sure those teams know that, they made a mistake. Just because, it's so much more than comes to just playing the game. I feel like what separates me is up top. And I feel like that's what, makes me the best. Because not everybody has that mindset, and, a lot of people have been gifted their whole life, even through college. But, like, man, once you get to the league, like, you're not really gifted more than anybody else now. Like, that playing field is the same now. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, you get the dudes like Calvin Johnson where not only was he a great football player, but, I mean,
freak of nature.
Yeah, but those don't come very often, you know what I mean? Where you can literally just go out there and just straight up be better than people, having 3 people guard you in the league. I mean, you don't see that very often.
Yeah.
So unless you like that, then, you know, you got to have so much more. Like everybody says, I mean, longevity in the NFL comes from what's between the ears. With everything I've gone through, I have a very developed brain, sense of the game, and just not only like just the mindset, but really even being able to see the game, seeing how things are playing out before they play out, seeing different coverages, knowing how to attack different techniques, you know, knowing where the open spots in the defense is, knowing where the help is coming from. So knowing, you know, if it's cover one, you know, they're trying to press you to the inside of the field because that's where the help is. They're not trying to get beat outside. Just being able to attack inside, to be able to move them inside. So now you got out. So now you created all this space for not only yourself, but for the QB to throw the football. So just different things like that, understanding the game, having that mindset off the field that I feel like is going to carry me on and on and on.
Who are your favorite receivers of all time in the league? And out of those guys, is there one of them you would want to have dinner with so you can kind of pick their brains?
To answer that last question, I would probably want to pick Cub's brain the most because I just feel like what I'm talking about and what I bring to the game is what, you know, some of what he brings, just like that knowingness of the game, knowing the nuances and knowing the game like the back of your hand. Like truly, some of my favorite receivers to watch, there was really a bunch of those LSU guys, just like Jamar and Justin, just like, bro, them dudes are just filthy. Like, they're nasty. And then somebody I named like Calvin Johnson, just him just going up and taking off people's head. And there's so many dudes I love watching, like going back to like Randy, just like, you know, going Moss people, you know what I mean? Like, just like so many great ones. So definitely picking somebody's brain like Cup and having dinner with him. But I mean, the dudes I watch, because you can take so much from all those people's game. The route running from Jettas, the yak from Jamar, like that mindset from Amon-Ra, like just going like getting nasty, like Puka, like kind of same as Amon-Ra, just like going and putting your head down, like getting nasty, just going win off, you know, maybe not gaining all this separation, but just going and making a play. Ball's in theirs, mine, it's nobody else's. Like I said, the list can go on and on and on. There's been so many great ones, and you know, I just try to pick at everybody's game so I could, you know, cultivate and be as well-rounded as possible.
I played against Moss, and when you jump and his crotch is still sitting on your shoulder, it's not a good feeling. Coach, how am I gonna get up there? I can't get up there where he's going to get that ball. But you brought up the LSU guys, the Jamars and the Jets. B. Thomas, you played with
Malik.
You
Yeah,
played
one of my
with.
best friends.
Like those guys, like playing with those your freshman year, playing with those guys and seeing the success you had around them. Now it's 4 years later, seeing them develop, but you develop as well. Does that give you the confidence? Because you've played with all pros since you were a kid, and now you're about to play with them at this next level.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I've always had that confidence in myself. You know, I'm always going to roll the dice and bet on myself. Things like that is just like stamping it. You know, I guess it's like that, just like that extra little confidence to be poured in on top. But, you know, I knew from a young age that, you know, I was built to do this. You know, I'm here for a reason. Going there my freshman year, being the All-American in the SEC, you know, that was just like a stamp of approval. Not really for me, though, but for other people. To show other people, you know, that I am like that, you know, I can do this. And just going out and seeing their success, being in that room with them, not only competing, but learning so much from them. Like you said, man, I have no doubt in my mind that I'm ready for this next step and that, you know, since I was a kid, I've been built for this.
Oh. I like that.
You know, the process of the pre-draft process, you always hear some of these horror stories from the meetings that you have with teams. And some of those things are about X's and O's, but coaches understand how to turn the film on and see what sort of football player you are. They want to get close to you and understand what sort of man is going to walk into our locker room and add to our culture. When you were asked some of those questions, what sort of man do we get if we draft Jack Bech, what were your answers?
Yeah, I mean, I think it just comes from so many different things, but no, really what I told him is you're going to get somebody who's going to go in there. First, you're going to get a dog on and off that field. That's first. You're going to get somebody that's going to help you win games no matter how it is. If it's me going crack safety, score touchdowns, catch balls over the middle on fourth down. That's what you're getting first. But off the field, you know, you're going to get somebody, you know, who's accountable and who's always going to, you know, do everything right and who's not going to get caught up in all the stuff, all the exterior stuff. You know what I mean? Not get all, you know, like go and do all the things off the field I'm not supposed to be doing. you're gonna get a leader. Obviously I'm not gonna walk into, a room with a bunch of vets and start talking crazy like I run the place. That's not how you do it. I'm gonna show these dudes. I'm gonna show them like I said, like I'm here for a reason. I'm gonna show them it's my work ethic. I'm gonna show them that I'm gonna go hard. If it's at practice, after practice, if it's in the weight room, it's in the film room. Getting there early, they're staying there late, just making sure like I'm gonna put this team first. Because me helping you win is helping you get paid, me get paid, them get paid, coaches get paid, support staff get paid. Like, one is the most important thing. So just showing them that, like, man, I love this organization wherever I'm at, and I'm gonna do anything I can to help this team win and to gain those stripes first is what I'm gonna do. And I think that's gonna be big with my development into the locker room with all these guys. And then from there, once I start making plays on the field and all that, I think that's whenever I will be able to start, using my voice, a little bit more, seeing how guys react to that, get behind me, fall behind me. But really just going there by example first and just show them dudes like, man, I'm gonna work hard and I'm gonna do it like every day and be consistent, be that same person every day.
Man, I love that. You keep saying, or you have said over and over again, the reason the NFL goal was here above the LSU goal was to take care of your family. And I think Channing's lived that life, Fred's lived that life, I've lived that life. That's always something that drives you. And when your name is called, it will be a family accomplishment. It always is. There will be people who had to stand behind you, had to sacrifice, who sat out here at St. Thomas More on Friday nights to watch you do what you will be doing now and getting paid for your parents who have lost a son recently. I guess my question would be, how important is it to you now to make sure you not only take care of them, but you continue to make them proud?
The only thing, you know what I mean? Like, that's the only thing on my mind. And, this first contract, I mean, if you be smart with it, you could carry it on. But, I mean, it's about that second contract. It's like my head's going to be down. You know what I mean? Like, my head's going to be down working. Like, man, I got 4 years to show my skills on that field, to show the person I am in that locker room. Because y'all know it's that second contract. I mean, that first one, you can do a lot of good with it. You can save it, and you could help out a lot with that. But it's that second one. There's never you could, retire your parents. Taking care of my family, making them proud. Like, that's first. And that's what drives me. That's what wakes me up in the morning. Early mornings, like, I've gone 5 days in a row. Now it's the sixth day. Like, I'm tired. My body's beat up. It's, like, your body needs rest. That's what's best. But it's like, get up and go get it in. Then you can rest after. So that's first. That's what drives me, and that's what's forever going to drive me. And no matter what I'm doing, 15 years after I'm done playing ball, that's the goal, to play for 10, 15 years. After that, whatever I'm doing, that's what's going to keep driving me. Like, and that's something that never goes away. That's a forever drive, because then it's my kids and my wife I'm taking care of with my sisters and my parents and my grandparents. So that's definitely a drive that just pushes me. It just pushes me every day to get better. And it's something that I really take to heart.
How are they, man? How are your parents doing?
So I haven't been home, and they say they're good, but I know they're facing trials and tribulations, demons of their own. So, I'm happy to be home, to be able to spend time with them, to be with them, and to really just have these conversations in person, not just over the phone. It means more being in person, flesh to flesh, instead of just, having a call over the phone. Because, with everything, too, like, they're not trying to put more stress on me. So they're not telling me everything to where now, it's time. I'm home for, a week or two. I'm still working out and stuff, but, it's not as strenuous as going to all these teams and all these X's and O's like you were saying. So, I can dive in and have these real intimate, deep conversations with them and to really see how they are feeling. And, like I said, I made it a top priority to check in on them all the time, my sisters, and just make sure they're doing good. But I think now being home, I'll really be able to comfort them like I did whenever I was home for the funeral when he passed.
Jack, I want to go back to what Channing mentioned, because he said you were very mature and way ahead, right? I know when I was drafted, I didn't have a plan. I just wanted to be drafted, right? I just wanted to get there, make some money, have some fun, try to win some games, compete. You, on the other hand, it seems that you have a plan, you have things in order. Talking about first contract, second contract. When did that start, putting that plan in place? Was it your uncle having already done it? Were you already able to see it? Or some of your teammates? Or just, when did that thought process occur?
Yeah, so it probably started like all this probably a year or two ago, just when people were talking about the league, they always say, you know, unless you're like a top 5 pick, like that first contract is for yourself. That second one is whenever you take care and retire. Where I mean, like I said, I mean that first contract won't be for myself. It's gonna be for all the people around me. But the point is that second contract, like y'all know, that's whenever you really, you know, like you're good. Like you can put everything away for your kids. You can retire your family, like all that stuff. So I think just going throughout the whole process, starting a few years back, just truly understanding that like money can go fast. So just trying to be as smart as you can with it, but also knowing that second contract is where you can really retire your people has been, and I think that's why like these first couple of years, I'm just gonna work, head down. You know, no matter what's going on, just keep going, keep pushing, keep pressing, so I could get there. And I know I keep saying it, but so I could take care of my family truly.
Does having experienced getting paid through NIL and those opportunities, is that somewhat of a safety net?
Yeah, I would definitely, I don't know if I would say a safety net, but I would definitely say like a learning curve, you know, just knowing how to manage money. You know, every month I put up like 75% of my money. You know, I'm cool with living off $1,000-2,000, you know, getting gas, getting food, you know, whatever it may be. Just like, you know, and every now and then, you know, go and get some kicks or something.
Or like some off-white
Yeah, go
Air
and get
Force
some
One.
kicks or something. These were gifted though.
Oh, those are dope.
These were gifted, so that's why I'm
Still
saying I didn't
dope.
buy these. But just not like, just getting in good habits of putting that money away, just being smart with it. Because at the end of the day, like, you know, if I get drafted and buy a real nice car, like nobody's gonna remember that car. I'm gonna sell that car within the next 4 years. So it's like, in my head, and some people like it, and it's not wrong to like it. You know, just my head. You know, I got a lot of people to take care of, and so that's gonna be first. You know, with that second contract, I'll take care of them, and I'll do the stuff I want to do. This first contract is just put my head down, grind, stay on track, keep that dog mentality. And like for me, it's not about getting there. You know, like at LSU, it wasn't about getting to LSU. It's like, man, I wanted to separate myself. I wanted to be the best. And so it's not about getting the league. It's not like, Mom, like I did it, we're here, we made it. It's like, nah, like I'm trying to go ball. I'm trying to go make a name for myself in the league. Like I'm trying to go help an organization with Super Bowls. Like I'm not just trying to be there. I'm trying to be the best when I get there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't waste your money on no cars, no jewelry, and foolishness.
And no 6 rings either. He likes 6 rings.
Yeah.
Don't ever buy 6 rings.
I ain't buy nothing, but I partied a lot. And
Uh-oh. We're in the church, Shannon.
$4 million my first contract. End of the 4th year, I had $200,000 left. Straight partying, running around. So there's a lot of vices out there,
Yeah,
man.
100%.
Yeah, so just stick to that. What's your ultimate goals? You said, because you said NFL was one. To be honest, you're about to be in the NFL. Now where are those goals? Now those goals have to reset.
Yeah, so like I just said, it's that second contract. It's getting there to be able to put my family up. But, and that like we're talking football-wise, you know, like win Super Bowls, make it to that second contract, help my team win any way possible, go out, you know, like I want to be a Pro Bowler. I want to put on a gold jacket one day, you know. I want to set these high bars because, you know, it's stuff to chase. Like, it's stuff that, like, it's really hard to achieve. You can't just achieve it being good. You got to be great to achieve these things. But, like, the ultimate goal, you know, outside of football and everything is, like I said, like, to go back and to be with my brother one day back in heaven, you know, where he is. You know, that's my ultimate goal, so.
As a young man, you seem to understand honoring people. I think on your eye black, it said, rest in peace, Pop, G, Cat, you know, as a very young man. Can you talk a little bit about who those people were and why you felt you wanted to represent them as you played?
Yeah, because like I said, I feel like whenever you do that, like it puts another presence about you. So Pop was my grandpa I lost, G was one of my friends who got shot, and Kat was Walker Howard's mom, one of my best friend's mom who I grew up with, who died of cancer. Just whenever I honor those people, like it just makes you like, you can't be effed with out there on the field. Like you just finna go and win, like be a dog and be great. And now I got, you know, somebody so super close to me like my brother, whereas even that, but on like a whole different level. And I just feel like it's something that pushes you, and it's something where at like halftime, man, you look at yourself in the mirror and you see those names, like you doing it for not yourself, you doing it for everybody around you.
In the Senior Bowl, you got to wear 7 to represent your brother. When you grow up here, in the era you grew up in football, 7 means a totally different thing to people in this area. right? And to get an opportunity to represent him in that way in the Senior Bowl as well. How or what physical representation, tangible representation do you plan to carry with you in the NFL to remember your brother?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I want to wear a 7. You know, I know whenever I walk in the building, a vet might have it or something like that. So definitely not overstepping. But, you know, eventually in my career, I definitely want to put on number 7. And then just different tats and marks on my body. You know, just being able to, him always being a part. You know, so you're taking a picture, you know, you see these things, which like it's a piece of him, and it's all on the left side of my body, you know, to represent that he is my other half. And it's on the side of my heart, you know, like I said, just knowing like truly like I am a 2-for-1, you know, like not even on the field, off the field. That's me and Tiger, you know, in one person. I'm in one person carrying both of our spirits. Just different things like that. Definitely cleats, like memorable cleats like I played with in the Super Bowl. And so I can just keep living his legacy on, just so whenever I'm making plays, like people are seeing the details of the cleats of the different tats and different things like that. So it's just always bringing people back to my brother.
At the Super Bowl this year, you were on the field. And, you know, it was one of those things for me. It was amazing to be there because it was such a large representation of what New Orleans is. It was such a large representation of the way we welcome people, the way we celebrate people, and also the way we remember people. When you are on the field and Cam Jordan is there and they're sort of commemorating or just having a moment to remember the people who were lost on January 1st, what are some of your thoughts of that night?
Surreal, you know, just not only being able to honor my brother, but honor everybody, you know, else who died in that attack. You know, just such a tragic event for so many people. Because, you know, it's hard losing somebody like that. You know, whenever you just lose them, you know, whenever they have a sickness, like you can prepare yourself and stuff like that. But whenever it's just something like that so sudden, and they're just here and then they're gone, you know, it's hard. So just being able to stand for all those people. And I'm not gonna lie, what was also on my mind when I was talking to my brother, like, I'm coming and win one of these for you one day. Like I promised him, like I'm gonna be on this field, you know, giving him glory and all those people glory, playing. You know what I mean? Lifting them up in a different way. But man, I was in that field thinking about like I'm gonna come win one for not only you but for everybody we're representing. So even little things like that, just like without people knowing, just like push me.
I love that.
Jack, the name of this show is The Pivot, and we always ask our guests, what's their biggest pivot in life? We tend to hesitate with asking younger people because their life is just, you know, getting going, but you've gone through a lot. You know, you've gone through a whole lot. But if you can look back on that one moment and say, without this moment happening to me or for me, I wouldn't be who I am today.
I think 2 come to mind. I think the transfer from LSU, because I think it taught me, like I said, how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. I think it taught me so many different lessons of like how sometimes like in order to achieve what you want to achieve, you're gonna have to leave a lot of stuff behind. Like you're gonna have to do new ways of doing stuff. Like you're always gonna have that support, but you might not just have it right here. Like you're gonna have to find something like inside you to keep going, keep pushing. Like you gotta self-motivate yourself. So I think that and just like that whole adversity, but I said that too because I think going through all that and facing that adversity, I think is one of the main reasons I was able to stand strong when my brother died and be that rock for him. You know, I think it just, so many lessons were taught in that, and God showed me. I like saying that, like, God will bring you to rock bottom to show you He is the rock at the bottom. He can bring you out from anything you're dealing with or you're in. So I think Him showing me rock bottom right there, bringing me up, letting me have the year I just had, then my brother passed and bring me back there, just knowing that, like, He will be able to bring me back out of this, my family back out of this, I think has been 2 of the biggest, like, monumental things that have happened in my life to be able to make me the man, the person I am today, and forever will be, you know, from here.
A lot of times, and you know, we can be honest about this, you're sometimes nervous to sit down with very young athletes because this is a long form platform and it's difficult to carry. It's difficult to communicate things in ways that not only educate people and entertain people, but also move people. You've lived, man, a long lifetime in a short amount of years. I thank you for your openness, your vulnerability, your candor. There's no doubt in my mind you have what it takes on the grass, but getting opportunity to talk to you, man. You also have what it takes off the field to impact the world. Man, best of luck on the weekend. Can't wait to hear your name called, man. And you are the definition of a pivot, man. So our prayers and condolences still to your family. And we appreciate you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate y'all for giving me this opportunity. And like you said, just can't wait for next week. But no, I appreciate y'all for flying in and for coming to take this time to do this. So
No
I
doubt.
appreciate y'all.
My dog.
Sir.
Man, you 22 going on 78.
Great seeing you. 215?
215?
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize he was that big,
What'd you
man.
weigh the
For
first
sure.
year? What'd you have to weigh the first year at LSU?
Like 218 and 220.
Coach said you play right
No,
now.
I just came a little bit down.
Came a little bit down.
I was at like beginning of the draft process, like 10.7% body fat at 215. Then I went all the way down to 8.3.
Gotcha.
At 215 though, so didn't
Where'd you
lose
train?
any weight. Exos.
Exos.
Up in Dallas or Plano area.
Your mind is in the right place. Right. You've seen a lot. Your mind is on tight. You got those guys to lean into who are just going to the league, and Malik and Chase and all of them. So, yeah, just tap into your resources, man. Don't be afraid to lean on it. Lean on, those relationships you have, and how to keep your head tight and you have a long career by taking care of your body first.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. I had Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Junior Seau, all in the room with me. So I would annoy the shit out of them.
Right.
So why did you
Always
do
asking
this? Why did you do that? Why did you do this? Zach would be like, God damn, Chan, I don't know. I was like, so you didn't see nothing? I was like, what did you see here? What did you see with this tight end? Yeah, man, that shit just clicks after a while. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Because that shit, 3 Hall of Famers in the room, I was like, oh shit, I'm about to question your ass to death.
Yeah.
And I think it helped me out a lot, especially a young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, started first game off bat. Yeah, third rounder and shit. Started for the Dolphins 7 years.
Yeah, it's a lot changed. Those coverages, when you get on the next level, they got
I'm
all the
talking about-
all the cheat codes and everything. The DBs, you might see one coverage, but they play it a little differently just to throw you off, and everything is a chess match.
Man, we
Every entire game.
Invert cover 3, invert cover 2.
Yes,
Yeah, that
yeah.
shit.
Just
is
everything
nuts.
rocking and rolling. You never throwing it. I already
Ain't nothing
know.
basic. Yeah, it
Nothing
ain't no
basic.
basic stuff.
Nope.
They watch film like this. Now, if the DBs and quarterbacks, the secondary and QBs watch film more than anybody else. I believe, the places that I've been. Now, the linebackers get their film too.
We got to go front and back
Right.
side.
The
But-
mic does it.
But
Yeah,
the
front
DBs,
and
man,
backside.
receivers, depends on where you are.
Right.
When I got to New England, Randy, all those guys, like the running backs and receivers we had to watch film together because we were all interchangeable. You never knew what the Pats wanted to do. You can find up and be the F and number 2 one day, or you be on this side playing the Y. Like it was all ridiculous. So we had to work together. And we had to know their routes and when to break it off, zone, return.
All that adjustments and stuff.
Yeah.
Hold up, limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up. On the mission, got me up. Knowing me, I got the key. On the vision, I can trust. Limitless. Take a stomach, got pinning it. I fought the head to witness it. Got my people feeling militant. Way I'm feeling, got me up.